Hey guys, this is Introducing Emmy and we're back with another Redline Tuesday. This one was sent to me by Rin-Ocam. Their name was up here, but I cropped it out just to make this a little more even to draw on, and their name is spelled RIN-OCOM. And yeah, we're gonna get started. And this one's actually kind of similar to another one I worked on like 2 episodes ago, and where the legs were kind of in a different perspective to the upper body, or maybe like where they needed to be in general. The first thing we're going to do is I like to start at the neck and the collarbones. I just feel like if I start at the lower body, then I might have to completely like readjust the top, and it will get really far away from what the character is supposed to be like emoting or doing. And but the first thing we're going to do is we're going to move this shoulder in so that it is a little more in perspective, and we'll just lightly draw the upper arm down to the elbow for now, and we'll draw the rib cage. So the spine is back here, and if you have like x-ray vision, you can kind of see it like running down the middle right here to the front. Imagine drawing what I like to do with my rib cages is when they're kind of in perspective like this, the rib cage is kind of like egg-shaped with like a bite taken out of the bottom, and then this is your sternum, and then your collarbone sits like there. It's probably like a little more ovally than that. And if you're kind of into more cartoony illustration, you know, you can like change up the shape of this and do some different things. But I like to imagine like a disc, cutting that in half. This is not a very amazingly drawn disc, but the back of this disc back here, that's kind of like where your rib cage is. Then it goes down to the pelvis. There's your middle body, and your belly button, and your crotch, and arms, and all that. Okay, so moving on. So let's kind of draw a light circle where, yeah. So this is probably where the one socket is going to be, the one shoulder. And what we're trying to do is really tuck this character's butt up and under a little more so that it's more in line with the character's shoulders and neck, because it's kind of like swinging out. Again, it's a little hard to see that, but it's sort of like swinging out to the I guess it'd be the character's left, my right. There's the pinch of the stomach and the torso. Now, as always, you can make characters skinnier or fatter than I draw them. This is just for the purposes of demonstration. And real quick here, I'm gonna extend this. I probably should have done this ahead of time, but here we are. Okay. So then we're going to bring this character's knees I think I made that one a little too high. Now, I should mention I'm not really taking into account this fountain. This is kind of like a prop or a piece of landscape or architecture. That's not really, it's not what we're doing today. So I'm gonna forgo it for now and just focus on the character. I'm gonna leave the breasts off for now. And then so you can see I'm kind of putting these like lines in. They're kind of like faux perspective lines. I say faux because I haven't, you know, measured them out in any great way, but we're gonna see if I can make some magic happen. I would definitely say my depth of field is a little shallow. And I know I say this like every other video, but I'm sorry if you can hear construction noises. And now that my mic is better, I'm worried that it's picking up like every little thing. You know what? Let's try tucking the feet up under the body a little more. I'm trying to think what's the best way to go about doing this. I guess you would just barely be able to see the other foot. Maybe I could sink them down a little lower. And then what that'll do is I'll have to redraw. Redraw the calf and other foot a little bit. Just trying to get these knees a little bit better defined. So my thing here is I'm a little worried that the legs are too short. One sec, I'm gonna turn off the... See, there's this like need for the human eye to like make everything symmetrical or to like fix everything, so to speak. A fix is not a great way to describe it, but it sort of, you want to like, how must I correct? But that's like basically the exact same thing. Is you have this need to like want to get everything back to an identifiable shape. And when you start to break it down like this into just like curves and lines and whatnot, your brain is kind of like, no, that's not a leg, that's a line. So like you try to fix it, and then you destroy your own illusion. think maybe drawing the hip, the groin, and the thighs a little more, or at least hashing them out a little better will help quite a bit. Okay, yeah. So, where's the other arm? Oops. Oh, it's like, oh man, I didn't leave any room for that arm. Her legs are kind of together. I guess you could like have it draped kind of like over the leg closest to the viewer. I think that looks okay. So I would make her hands a little bigger unless it's a style choice. I'm not going to draw every individual finger, but it is something to be aware of. Also, I realize your character is like a little more, maybe not bulked is the right word, but the muscles are a little more defined than I normally draw them. Try to go in and make that look a little more like the source material. I think that'll be good. Let me real quick go over the face. So first thing is the front part of the face, like where the jaw is and everything. I think it's sitting forward too far, or you don't have enough space on the back of the head for the skull. So you kind of have to take your pick, and I guess what it comes down to is where the throat connects. So this is your top of your neck, bottom of your neck. If you want to get like really like hemi and high, you could actually draw like the larynx and the esophagus and the bone part that makes up the Adam's apple. Believe it or not, both men and women have Adam's apples. It's just that the structure for women usually is not very apparent, but some women can have really defined Adam's apples, though a lot of them get it like surgically corrected for whatever I don't know. It wouldn't bother me, but I don't know, maybe it would. I can't say I've ever had the experience. I was just watching a show the other day about a woman who was getting her Adam's apple reduced. So I think I'm drawing the center of the head off a little bit too much. So this sort of curved V, it kind of looks like one of those birds, like when you're a kid, you used to put the birds in the sky. This is sort of the outside of the eye socket, and then it goes up to the temple, and then this is the more flattened side of the skull. I've gone over this before, but just in quick review, the sides of the skull are kind of flat. I say kinda. They are curved slightly, but not as much as the top of the head. The top of the head's like a real dome. Here's your center line, and then you have your eye socket and the part where the eyeball goes. And then this goes down to where your little teeth are. There's the hole for your nose. My scientific terms. And there's a gap here. This is where your jaw goes down. This is like a little flap for your chin. And there's your teeth. And that's basically your head. And then there's your temple. This is exactly what your head looks like. Close to it. I'm tired, okay? I'm tired. So, these are the structures that I'm trying to hint at when I'm doing the layouts for my characters' faces. Just make sure your eyes aren't too close together, and that when you're drawing an eyeball in perspective, you like really tuck it in. So here is a little trick. I'm going to get rid of this for now. For doing glasses, especially if you draw digitally. Sorry, this is kind of like my default, like trying human mug. But let me flip this real quick. I feel like her head is more squashed than I want it to be. Okay, I think that's better. So what I like to do for glasses is, let's pick a different color. And that's set to multiply. Good. I like to draw the frame in the perspective of how the rest of this is drawn, and the frame starts out as like kind of a sci-fi looking mess. So this is like, you know, like in movies, like sci-fi movies, or like if you know Sailor Moon, Sailor Mercury's visor, you know, that kind of look. And then from there, I build up the details. Actually, this side might be out a little too far. If you're working digital, this is a little easier just because it's a little quicker to manipulate things. Well, I guess maybe for some people it's not quicker, but for me it is. And I realize I'm not drawing like the exact glasses here, but you get the idea. and then just go in and erase away your guidelines. Another way I do glasses, and I'll do a different color, I'll do blue, is I'll just draw like the way that I would, like if you had to look at the design like dead on, I'll just like make up a pair here. So there it is, there's my glasses. Draw the lenses. Okay. I'm not going to put these ones over the face just for the example, but then what I do here is I duplicate the layer that I did on the one side, and I hit Control-T to transform it, and I flip it, and there's multiple ways to flip it, but the quickest way is to put a negative in the width marker, and then I hold Shift and move it over. Now this is super rough, so these glasses look a little garbagey. But we're not done here. So before you hit Control-E to collapse these two layers together, I like to shrink one side just by hand, and usually I kind of eyeball it. Okay. And then we're going to hit Control-E so that these are now linked, and they are on one layer. And then I set the perspective, and you can do this by hitting Control-T, which transforms this layer, and then hold down Control to until your little arrow turns white, which I think while I'm recording you can't actually see that, but you hold down Control, your little arrow will turn white over top of the pips used to adjust the transformation, and then you can, you know, put the glasses more into deeper perspective. And then from here I would like draw, depending on how detailed it is, I would draw like the interior of the lens that you can see, like the interior of the rim, and you know, you do the arms, and then you put the nose in, the eyeball. So that's one way to do it. And don't forget the little like nose thingy that like sits on your nose. I should know this because I wear glasses, but okay. So anyway, that's kind of like an idea of how to do this same sort of method if you want to get all fancy and use transformation tools and whatnot. Let's see, real quick for the hair. Hair is hair, so I'm not gonna get too, you know, nutty about it, but might be nice to like put a little bit of a curve there just to accentuate sort of the gathering. And then for any kind of hair styles, I do shapy hair first and usually leave it as that and then work. But if you want to continue to work it over so that it has more of like a flow, then by all means. But I like to do the shape first because then I can kind of figure out like if that's gonna look good or not, you know. Oh, and I never gave her breasts. I actually don't know like the size of her breasts or anything, so and this is not a great color. It's not very dark. Yeah, it's a little hard to tell where her breasts are just because of the outfit she has on. I guess it doesn't really matter, but it might change the shape of this negative space in here, like the outfit she's wearing and whatnot. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Oops. Come on. I'm selecting the wrong layer. There we go. And here, just in case I didn't mention it, I imagine her feet are kind of lifted. So this is like a shadow to help you kind of like remember that. And I cut my ankle really deep here. Don't cut as deep as I did. Leave it a little more shallow. I'm kind of redlining my red line at this point. We're going too deep. And I think that'll do it. One other smallish tip, and not to embarrass the original artist or anything, but I would recommend not drawing water like this. And in fact, I will just real quickly show you what I would do. Water's clear. It's kind of a misnomer that, you know, when you see windows and stuff in cartoons or any kind of cartoony wet surface, it's just like drawn as blue or white or whatever. But that's not really how that looks. First of all, you have to remember that the palm of your hand has like a divot in the middle. So what we'll do here is we'll kind of have the water like pooled like this. Now, we're not going for like ultra realistic or anything, if you can't tell, but I'm saying that about me because I'm tired and it doesn't look super great, but you want to shy away from just being like white. It may end up looking like something you don't intend it to look like. I would say maybe something more like that. What I like to, you know, I have to redraw the hand. The hand's kind of freaking me out a little bit without, but like if I was going to do like a sweat drop, I would do, let me find a good spot. Put like a sweat drop there. So I would do like a light edge. Okay. And then let me take the shadow color and I would do like a little dark area. And then I would cast the highlight over that. Maybe something like that. Sometimes you'll just see like that, just the shine. But I would stay away from doing like this. But I get what you were going for. It's no big deal. So anyway, I think that's gonna about do it for this one. Oops, not that far out. Okay, there we go. I think it's a really cute drawing. I might even move this shoulder back even a little bit more. I don't know, maybe I'm making it too narrow at that point, but it felt sort of like it was sticking out too far or something still. I don't know. You guys can tell me what you think. It's no big deal though, really. You just have to get it in the ballpark to convince people, to lie to them visually. And maybe the back might be a little too curved right there. But I think that is that's getting to where we like to see it. Sorry for the flashing. And yeah, I think that'll do it. You know, keep sending. Well, real quick, I just want to thank ren-.com for sending this to me, and keep sending your Redline Tuesdays to emy.bitner at IntroducingEmy.com. And yep, I will see you guys next time. Bye.